Hey y'all, welcome to this video where we will feature Salvador Minuchin uh, demonstrating his structural family therapy model with an actual family. We will be watching a video that is available to all of you on YouTube and is part of a three-part series that was recorded many years ago by the clothing, I'm guessing late 80s or early 90s, and also by the uh, apparent age of Dr. Minuchin. Some of you may already know that Dr. Minuchin died really about 5 years ago this October. He died, he was in his, I believe, 80s at the time. So in the event that this video is recorded in the 80s, we'll be looking at sort of a 50 or even 60-year-old Dr. Minuchin. And this will be at a time that he had moved beyond the child guidance clinic and was doing more academic work. But what you're seeing is sort of something that was part of Dr. Minuchin's MO from the very beginning of his practice at Wiltwick School in New York. He is one of the primary people you can thank for the practice of videotaping sessions as supervisees. He started the tradition of using a one-way mirror for observation, and then later videotaping. And his trainees, many of them, including myself, continued to videotape their work and have it reviewed by peers or supervisors late into their career, even beyond licensure. So it's a practice that really adds another layer of oversight to our work and really emphasizes the value of continued learning. What you're going to see is sort of the second video of this series that was recorded in the time period I mentioned during a American Association of Marriage Family Therapy conference at Dallas Theological Seminary in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to share with you a little bit about the family that was sort of part of the setup of part one. And I'll just turn my camera over here so you can see the map I've drawn. You're going to meet a family of 7 members. This is a blended family where mom and dad, in fact, in this video, are celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary. And they have 2 children, part of, these are mom's biological children from a previous relationship, one is 18-year-old son and a 13-year-old son. I've drawn sort of a squiggly line around Jeff here because Jeff is the identified patient. And then the 18-year-old, you will hear from him a little bit. And I've drawn an arrow going out this way because even though it is dotted, even though he sort of resides with the family, he talks about how he does his best to spend as much time away from the family as possible. One of the key points of contention between the parents is that the father has 3 older children from a previous relationship, and the couple struggles to agree upon boundaries with the children from the father's previous relationship, who want to continue to come in and out of the household. Currently, the 19-year-old daughter named Andrea is also currently living in the home, at least temporarily. You'll note that I have drawn sort of the symbols for mom in a very small way. And this sort of draws from a structural family therapy tradition of family mapping, where symbols are drawn in such a way as to indicate strength and power in relationships, in addition to some of the more common genogram symbols that you'll see here. you will find that mom has great difficulty standing up to dad, whose presence in the room can be somewhat forceful and authoritarian. You'll see that come to play and see how Dr. Mitchell works with it. And you'll note that is a bit of enmeshment that is identified between mom and Jeff, which then seems to help maintain conflict between Jeff and his stepfather, and also maintain conflict here. So you can see one of the key triangles in this diagram here, and you'll see how Dr. Mnuchin works with it. So we will leave the map at that, and then I will share my screen with you, and we'll begin with the first part of the session. Tune into, first of all, how Dr. Mnuchin presents himself in the room, how he sort of begins the work, and then we will fast forward a little ways, just in the interest of time, to about 43 minutes into the session to really see where a lot of action happens. And I will provide some commentary about what interventions Dr. Mnuchin is using in those moments, and for what purpose. So with that, I will share my screen with you, and I hope you will enjoy this family consultation entitled Unfolding the Laundry.
Okay, so we are alive. And so we are going to meet here probably an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. And I'm supposed in an hour and 15 minutes.
You'll note here that this is Dad. Mom is sort of to Dad's right. We have Jeff. We have the 18-year-old who lives in the home. We have Andrea, who currently lives in the home temporarily. And we have a couple of older children from Dad's previous relationship. As you may have guessed already, this is Dr. Mnuchin. And this person here, who's sort of slightly off camera, this is the referring clinician who has invited Dr. Mnuchin in for a family consultation.
To know who you are and to come with some idea of, it is very, very bright, of how you can be more harmonious, complex, better than you are now. So you I have quite a question. Who wants to start? Can you begin to tell me why did you come to Valerie and why do you stay with her?
We came to Valerie because I had hit a point in my life where Jeff and I were playing some pretty destroying games with each other. And I had reached a crisis point to where I was either going to send him to live on the moon or away to boarding school, or something had to change.
Who was going to go to boarding school? You or he?
Yeah. At that time, I probably would have gone too.
Okay.
But it reached a point to where we needed some kind of help in order to not destroy each other. Our relationship is not. There is love there, but there's also a lot of hurt there. And we came to Valerie at that point because, well, actually it was Bob and Jeff and I went to a session for to get some ideas on what we could do at that point. And it was suggested that by Valerie at that point that because I was in crisis, that I see her on a weekly basis and that she would see the family, everybody who happens to be in the house at that time, on a monthly basis.
That's where it included you.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we started doing. And we are still going because there still are some strides that need to be made, but I think there have been a lot already.
So, tell me how do you see it?
I pushed to get him going someplace because that was pretty much my routine. manipulated their relationship and manipulated my relationship with Jeff every possible way that I knew how to get some kind of resolution.
What is what you wanted? Yes, in the best of all worlds, what do you want to change? Let me just go and bring that so that we can put the flowers in it.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
So you will look at it. Okay. What do you want to do?
My sense of their relationship was that the two of them were so wrapped up in whatever this game was that they played, and I don't know other language to use, that it precluded the possibility of Donna and I having a real good relationship of our own, because there was so much energy that was going into them. Our relationship was characterized by Jeff is doing this and Jeff is doing that. And then followed by my awareness of Jeff was in fact doing that and doing other things. It was all just kind of out of control. I should suggest that my relationship with each one of my children, I include all of them in that category, has gone through similar kinds of stages. Mm-hmm. There's been some need for me to play a policeman, redirect their efforts.
Is a policeman between human or
the role of policeman with everybody who happens to be involved with the family at that point.
Okay. How do you see that? Your name is Bob? Bob, yeah. You two, you're both of you. Okay. How do you see? Because apparently you, how do you call him?
How do I?
Yeah, how do you call him? Dad? Or,
yeah.
Or you call him Dad? And you also call him Dad? Okay. Apparently Dad felt that your mom and Jeff were in some kind of thing. I don't know. What's happening? Tell me, because they are such a complicated talkers that I don't understand what they are saying. So I want a straight talk.
So something that I want to draw attention to there is that Mnuchin is demonstrating the value upon directness and honesty that is endemic to structural family therapy. And he uses sort of a jovial, humorous, but also somewhat indirect, maybe even lightly passive aggressive sort of pushing on that pattern of over intellectualizing the conversation and perhaps putting on airs and pretense. Mnuchin just wants to get to the point, and he, in this case, has moved between now on his third sort of information source to look for a straight shooter, someone who's going to speak plainly and directly.
Maybe you're on family.
Are you a straight talker or not?
I'll try.
Okay.
There's been a lot of continuous battling, almost like who's going to be in charge of the family. And
it's our first noting of an interest in the hierarchy. Who's in charge here?
And with Dad being gone a lot, it seemed like most of it was going on between Mom and Jeff. And then when Dad got home, he was in charge. When he wasn't home, it was up to Mom and Jeff to decide who was going to be in charge.
What were you doing?
Staying gone.
Huh?
Staying gone. Stay at school. Go to a friend's house.
That means you.
Well, I tried to stay. No, I was still living at home, but I tried to stay gone as much as I could.
So that you were giving the ring to these two people.
Yeah.
But you were.
But whenever I walked in the house, I was right in the middle of it also.
Were you in the middle, or are you just an onlooker?
Always in the middle of it. I get drawn into it real fast. Like if Mom and Jeff are arguing, I get into the argument really fast because
Jeff,
everybody starts telling me.
Is she a pain in the neck? Is she in your he takes mom's side.
Sometimes, a lot of time we will.
All right, Dr. Newton is assessing where are the alliances. You take mom's side.
What are they talking about? You know, it seems as if you're a pest. What kind of pest are you?
Sort of a use of a direct attempt at reframe. He's sort of trying to name how the family defines Jeff's role in the family, in the system.
Is that what they are talking about? I don't know.
Yeah, that, see, is what my dad always says. He says, I'm a master manipulator.
Who says that?
My dad,
You're a master manipulator?
yeah, I can manipulate very well.
Are you doing a job on me now?
No.
He skillfully uses humor to invite the family to participate. And yeah, he's testing hypotheses against what the information is provided to him through multiple sources of information. This is all just basically part of the initial assessment process that Mnuchin is going through.
They
What does he mean?
when I guess me and my mama get in fights, and I'll manipulate my way out of it, or I'll ask her for something, like to go out for a couple hours with my friends or at night when my dad's not home, and she'll say no. Well, come on, mom. You know, can't keep
What's wrong with that?
antagonizing her.
What's wrong with that? I don't understand. Why is that wrong? What's what you do that is wrong? You want to go out?
I keep asking her,
Yeah.
and I keep fighting her. And I fight until I get my own way. And once I get my own way, I'm happy about it.
What's wrong with that? I try that also. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. Is the wrong thing that you're always succeeding, or what?
The wrong thing is that I'm always trying, and then I'm not getting along with my mom half the time.
Talk with your mom so that I understand what are you talking about. Can you talk a little bit with your mom, and so that maybe you can describe together some situation, and maybe a situation in which you also know what happened, so that I can get some idea of how you see things.
So Mnuchin is tracking and naming at this point, and he is directing exchanges between family members in an attempt to bring the pattern visibly into the room. In other words, into the here and now.
You two are not part of the family, really. You are what? Observers. That means you are part of the family, but you don't live there. Yeah. Have you observed this thing, or?
I used to live in
A little bit.
You used to be part of the
Yeah, I
family?
moved out a couple years ago, but I did live with this entire family.
Oh, for how long?
2-3 years.
Oh, okay. So you know. And what about you?
In and out.
Yeah, in and out pretty much summers and
Okay. Then please let them start. Andrea, you had been with this family for how long?
I lived with them for about a year.
You had been with them for a year?
Yeah.
Okay, so you five start discussing some issue that consult each other so that you can tell me. I can see.
You mean like act out one of our?
No, first start discussing it, and then I will find out something. I want concreteness. You know, you are a generalist, and so I just get. I want to understand that in a much more concrete way.
Everybody was involved.
Everybody started one step.
Why don't we talk about
Notice how people respond when they're put on the spot. And then notice who takes leadership in the moment. Notice who attempts to take leadership, and then who backs out, and then who steps in.
let's talk about the tools or the jobs as it specifically relates to Jeff. I'm trying to think of a specific incident in which we were all involved in kind of feeding them back in. Why don't we talk about the jobs themselves and somehow how the clothes keep them shoved or have been shoved under beds and that kind of thing.
During drawers.
What do you think about that? Is that something that's going to let us all participate in that a little bit?
Sure.
Did I push anybody's button with that? Maybe.
Well,
Keeping in mind here that the family is picking a topic of moderate significance to discuss in a real way. It's a real issue. This allows for emotional significance, and remembering that the whole is always present in the part, right? The pattern is always present regardless of how it manifests. So continue to watch. The picking, folding the laundry seems relatively benign and innocuous, but it's sort of a good source of energy for this family to work through.
one of the things that we have at our house is that the kids each have chores to do. And we live in an upstairs house. So what we have done until Andrea moved back in a few weeks ago, there were the two kids, and one would do the upstairs chores and one would do the downstairs chores. And it does seem to be a big issue with Jeff mostly, although Bobby has gotten in on it a couple of times too, that one of the downstairs jobs is to fold the clothes when they come out of the dryer. And I think what Bob is referring to is when you're missing all your clothes, so you go downstairs and you find them either shoved under the bed or shoved in a closet or shoved in a drawer, so that he can then say that, yes, I did my job, and you go down and check, and there's no clothes on his bed, so the job has been done. But in essence, what he does about 90% of the time, maybe 80, is that he shoves them in his drawer. Well, first he shoved them under his bed, and we found those, and then I even found him shoved in the hall closet one time. But this is one of the things that seemed to
is that he does the clothing of everybody or only
right. Right. His job is to fold the clothes after they've been washed and come out of the dryer, and it's everybody's. And
who puts the clothing in
he
the dryer?
puts the clothes.
Who puts the clothing in the washing machine?
Usually Bob or I.
Very between one of you.
Yeah.
And then what's your job?
My job is to check the washing machine. If there's clothes that need to be dry, put them in the dryer. If there's clothes that are already dried, take them, fold them, and if there's clothes that need to be washed, wash them. And every week that changes because I'll have the downstairs for 1 week and then the upstairs for 1 week. And starting Sunday, I'll have the downstairs.
What's the problem?
Problem is that if there's been a job assigned that is not being completed in a manner that's satisfactory to me and I believe to Don. And we have talked to Jeff about it, and I have done substantial. I'm sorry. I have talked to Jeff about it, and I have done substantially more than just talk to him about it. I've spanked him, threatened him, considered putting him on a plane to Texas because it's been a continuing problem for some period of time. And I have been unable to convince him to finish the job. That absolutely nothing is accomplished other than to incur my anger by taking the clothes and hiding them under the bed. It seems to be symptomatic of several areas, but that's specifically what's taking place.
And do you get away with it, Jeff? That means what happened once you you put the clothing under the bed. What happened then?
Usually they get thrown on my bed at night.
Who does that?
Whoever takes them out, Bobby, Andy, mom and dad, they throw them on my bed. So I won't go down in my bedroom to check or anything like I'm supposed to. And at night when I go to bed, I won't want to fold them. So I just set them on the couch or something. And in the morning, I get up, and I don't have time to do my vacuuming and then to fold my clothes and then get off to school on time. So I just usually set them in a drawer or something until I get home, and then most of the time I'll fold them every once in a while. But by the time I get home, my bed's probably standing up on end. My couch is probably standing up, and all my stuff's tore up.
Who does that?
My dad, he it's like he sees through things because he can always find it. he always can find it. Every time I do that, because I don't really do it very much anymore. Because he'll walk in, and if he's missing a pair of his shorts, you know, my room's the first place they'll check. And it's usually the place they are.
And so what do? You come to your room and your bed is standing up. So what happened?
I vacuum my room, I clean my room, I fix it all back up, fold the clothes, and then do my job regularly for a week. And then again, I'll do
So
that.
it seemed, what's wrong with that system? It seemed to me that you had found a way of having everything functioning okay. What do you want to change that?
Well, I'd have to disagree with the word okay. Everything functions, but it's not okay when I'm required to continue reinforcing behavior that I think we should be able to accept and recognize as responsibilities of the family. It is functioning.
I think one of the things that really bothers me the most about it is instead of going down and checking and just saying, Jeff, did you do your job? And he lies about it and says yes. That the lying is the part that gets to me the most. And the clothes.
Is Bob very strong, your husband?
Yes.
Means he can pull the bed.
Yeah, he's strong that way, and he's strong personality wise also.
So we have the family sharing a little bit more about the power dynamics, the strength, the energy, and how that sort of influences the way in which people work to strategize around solving problems and contributing in meaningful ways to the family daily functioning.
He's very strong. He's tends to take control. I'm pretty wishy-washy, and I needed somebody strong. That was good.
That means you selected him because
no,
he initiates things.
Yeah, that was not really one of the things I thought about when I selected him. But great day. And I am not real consistent with the kids, and I am not a real strong. What is the word? Disciplinarian.
Let's imagine that Bob would not do this strong man act that he does. What do you do? It's how you could apparently you travel because
I think Bobby was just making reference to being gone during the day.
Okay, so you are away working. What you have the job, you finish, you come back home at 6 o'clock.
It depends. I sometimes have evening appointments. I'm involved in real estate finance, so sometimes I meet with clients.
So when he's away, how do you manage them?
Not very well.
How?
Yeah, when something comes up that I need to handle, like with Bobby, I can just say yes, no, or anything, and it sticks 99% of the time. I don't have a problem. But when it comes to Jeff, he pushes all my buttons. And
talk with Jeff now, trying to understand why doesn't he hear you and Bob does.
Ask Jeff.
Yeah.
Why don't you hear me when I say no, Jeff?
I do.
Why don't you react to that?
Because I don't like,
Is it the fact that I tell you no that you don't like, or is it just the fact that you've got to keep it, the turbulence going all the time?
fact that you say no.
You hate being said no to that much?
Yeah, because it's always, most of the time now, it seems to me that everything I do, it's always no.
Well, I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent and not give in after the 10th no and say yes.
It's always no.
I'm getting better. is
Right. So something that I want to draw attention to here before we move on a little bit farther in the session, just for the sake of time. I just want to draw your attention back to the discussion board from last week about respect. This is the kind of dynamic I'm talking about when I'm talking about a child giving the parent the finger, right? Essentially, it appears as though Jeff does not lend much credibility to his mother, and has learned that if he holds out, that the odds are good. The pattern is that she will cave in, and they continue to kind of have this pattern where Jeff gets to sort of avoid developmentally appropriate responsibilities. And the parents, first of all, the mother is sort of feeling disempowered because she cannot motivate her child to do something developmentally appropriate. And then secondarily, that lands her in conflict with Bob, Big Bob. Bob sounds like he comes in with too much force, which then puts him at odds with Jeff and leaves mom feeling conflicted about who are her loyal, how does she act as the mom? Does she jump in to defend the vulnerable child, or does she align with the overpowering father? This is also a dynamic that was sort of loosely referenced earlier in the session that is quite common. You heard Big Bob reference himself as the police, right? If you see any other videos of Dr. Mnuchin, you may see him name sort of the sheriff versus the attorney for the defense. This is a very problematic dynamic between parents, where one parent sort of takes an authoritarian sort of law rules enforcement role, aka the sheriff, and that leaves the other parent in the space of playing attorney for the defense. And so the parents undermine each other and are not working cohesively in a way that provides leadership for the learning generation. And so the learning generation then learns that they can control the dynamics and the energy and the behavior of the environment around them by abdicating responsibility and sort of feeling empowered by their ability to kind of play the older generation in a way that allows them to avoid taking or doing things that require energy and effort. So we're going to move forward a little bit in the interest of time to about right here. And we'll pick up in a very similar spot where Dr. Mnuchin is talking about how normal it is that a person in Jeff's shoes likes to get away with stuff.
Same-concept marriages are with kids coming from different groups, and you develop a style in which you two have decided that you will be stricter and that you will be a little bit softer, and that seems to work because people get a little bit mad with you and you minister for them. So it seems that you are working things rather well.
I think
I don't think it goes really well.
No.
It has gotten
So
to
explain that to me. Because,
okay.
you know, unless you demonstrate that I have a function, I don't have a function.
Okay. I've gotten to the point to where I feel like I'm gonna lose it. That's the point that we were
Who
when
will you lose?
my sanity or whatever.
Your son,
right.
not Bob.
No, there was that fear for a long time, but that fear isn't there anymore. But that was a real issue for a long time. That has been my pattern to just, the weight gain. I weighed 116 when we got married, and that was 5 years ago today. And I weigh a whole lot more than that now. I have 80 pounds to lose. It's kind of like when there was not a crisis between Bob and I, the only thing that I knew how to deal with was crises. So I would create one so that he could leave me. And then I could say, see what a bad person I am, because my self-esteem was so low that I had to try to make the chaos. But with the family,
Please help me.
okay.
I don't know what is the problem. I see Jeff as a kid that like
He's refocusing the family. They talk around the issue. They talk about what they perhaps learned from Valerie, their therapist, in the work that they've been doing, but they're not answering Dr. Newsom's question about what is the actual problem here. I can see that this system functions. It gets along. It accomplishes the day-to-day goals. What is it you don't like about it?
likes to get away with things. Well, most kids are like that.
Mhm.
So
To that extent.
so I don't understand what is.
When this relationship was formed with all of us together, we each took roles that were best for us at that time. At least that's my belief. The only way I knew how to function with anybody was to lay the law down. There was no real room for dialogue. I was unwrapped so much myself in terms of being together that all I knew to do was to lay that down.
So Bob, you married a lady that feels comfortable with letting you do that.
And see, the problem is, I don't.
Is that not?
Yes.
Are you not pleased with that? I don't
No,
know.
not anymore.
No, you're not.
Not anymore.
No.
That's the way I think it was. I think that's the way it had to be when this family got together, when Bob and I got together. The kids didn't have any choice in it. They just sort of came along for the ride. But it's no longer a place that we can function anymore.
Miss, you don't like.
I don't like it. Bob doesn't like it. I don't think the kids like it.
What do you want to change?
I want peace in our family.
And-
I want to be able to be more consistent. I want to be able to be a stronger disciplinarian.
And Bob doesn't let you.
I think Bob would like me to be. I think as I have been learning to be, he reacts to that a little bit, even though I think that is something that he really wants it to be.
The question is that if he meets you as a buffer against his style, and you apparently your softer style, it's useful. So are you? Do I understand well that you don't like that style now anymore?
Right. We don't like that style anymore. We're trying to change that.
And how would you like to change Bob?
To change Bob?
You gotta be kidding.
No.
Did you notice kind of what happened even outside the dyad when Dr. Mnuchin followed the energy that Mom was presenting? I want to be essentially more empowered in the family, in the relationship. I've been sort of the softer one, and the buffer to Bob's and Dad's sort of strength and authoritarianism. And that worked for a time. It started out as a solution to a problem, right? That solution has outlived its usefulness because it's become uncomfortable, especially between the married couple. And so this is an attempt to unbalance the system, right? We've had Bob in a very strong, forceful, authoritarian role. Don, I believe, Mom in a softer, sort of ministerial attorney for the defense, type of role. And now, so Mnuchin invites with sort of a question, what would you like to have power to do, or what would you like Bob to change? Giving her a chance to name what she wants to affect change, and watch what happens.
I would like to be able to communicate with him more, which I think is partly I've got to be able to change to do that also. Change.
Yes, I want
to still focus on and sort of has accepted her role as the weak one.
you specifically to look at him as if you are a sculptor and he is marble, steel, clay, whatever you want to. What would you like?
She look at that face, like she's incredulous that this is even a possibility.
Like, how would you like to change him so that life is a little bit better? I don't know. I think that Jeff will grow up and grow out of that, and clearly the kids are doing fine. So, what do you want to change?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Are you going to ask him? Or are you?
No, I don't want to ask him. I want to tell him, but I don't think that I've ever really defined what I want it to change, but I don't think I've ever been able to figure out exactly what I want about it.
Yeah, but you see, the question is that unless you start now, then Bob will tell you in what way you should want him to change.
True.
Watch this.
So,
True.
or you will ask Valerie, or so. Why don't you look at this man with an Adidas suit and tell what you want? How would you like to change it?
I would like you to let your wall down.
Can you talk a little bit louder? Talk with him a little bit louder.
Okay, I would like you to let your wall down. I feel that there's a wall there. I would like I don't know what I like.
Now notice where this is a moment where Dr. Mnuchin repositions himself and Jeff. Jeff has been moved to another chair. It happens to be Dr. Mnuchin's chair. And Mnuchin has moved into that space, and as you can tell, it raises the intensity. That will also become more poignant a little bit later.
I would like you to open up to me more and let me know more of who you are and share with you. I would like you to communicate with me more and share with me instead of telling me all the time. Not all the time, but some of the time. This is really hard. I don't know. Physically, you're fine. I mean, I don't think I should change your.
It's as if she's working on a muscle that she's never really tested before.
Face or anything like that, or your body. The things that I feel are emotional, and when we try to share, when we try to talk, I would like your guard to be down a little bit more. I would like to get to know you more than I do. I think that's changing now. This is real hard. I don't know. I'm not that dissatisfied with you as a person.
Think about specifics. Think about very little things that you would like him to change. Not big things. You know, you are all people that think such big things, and it's so difficult to change big things. Think about what would you like to change in Bob that is relatively small.
I don't know. Like a habit or something? Just
Talk to them.
I don't know. I don't. I know there are things that you do sometimes that really irritate me, but right now my mind is a total blank, and I don't know.
Probably go the other way, and I suggest something for you. Maybe that'll open the door.
Now you're in trouble.
Mm.
Okay.
You all right with it? In terms of a little thing, you would
Do you notice what's happening here?
be important to me.
Louder.
It would be important to me that you begin to get up earlier in the morning so that I'm able to share that morning and we're able to function more as if we, the parents, are up when the young people are up. That would be a little thing.
We never share in the morning.
I understand that. One of the reasons that we can't is that you aren't up in the morning for us to be able to do that.
Are you talking about being up and making lunches for the kids, or are you talking about when you go for a run, you want me to go with you?
No, I'm just talking about us being up and functioning. Okay? The sense I have is that as our morning breaks, okay, kids get up and they go, and I get up and I go, and then you get up, and it's 4 individuals sharing the same house. Let's try and find a way for us to be together sometime in the morning, to get up and begin functioning in the morning. It ties in with me wanting a lifestyle partner as opposed to the other kind of relationship that we had when we first got together. We're a partner, not a master-slave relationship. That means you need to be responsible for yourself, to be able to stand on your own feet, to be able to make decisions for yourself, rather than waiting for life to make decisions for you.
So he's now your preceptor.
So just so we're clear, Mnuchin has just said now he's your preceptor, referencing sort of an old sort of headmaster principle kind of word that shows that dad has put himself back into an authoritarian slash critical role, and mom is now the learner, and see what happens.
And is that what you like? That he should precept you?
I don't like that.
And why don't you change that?
I don't know how.
It's very simple. Tell him to stop it.
Stop it. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, that
Well,
is.
why don't you change that part of him?
I think it has a lot to do with him being so strong and I'm not. It's real threatening for me.
No, that's not so. That's not so. There is a lot of strength in the position that you take. It just seems as if he's stronger, but your position is very strong. You see,
Okay.
you can change him if you want to change him. He clearly can change you if he wants to change you. But I think that you are not very uncomfortable in that kind of arrangement that you have. Because if you want to change him, you said to him when he becomes your preceptor, "Oh, how old do you think I am?" And then since he sometimes hears when you talk, then he will feel embarrassed because he doesn't like too much that kind of authoritarian style that he has. It functions with the kids, but you don't tell him.
Note that he's delineating between the difference between the value of an authoritarian approach with the children and the value of an authoritarian approach with his partner. They are intended to be part of the same generation and on more equal footing. And Mnuchin is attempting to empower mom so that they can be on more equal footing, and noting that Bob has indicated this is what he wants too. Just so happens that they're stuck in this self-defeating pattern.
I don't.
Yeah, so
I-
okay. So question is, do you want to change him or not? Right? If you don't, if you want to change him, then I think it's very easy. You just need to begin to work on it. Do you want? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it to be the way it has been in the past. I think it
Well,
is
it has
changing
been just no, but no, just now, just in this moment, he was being the preceptor and you were the dumb student.
now. And that's how I feel a lot. We talked about that this morning.
Now, are you a dumb student or
No,
are you a dumb person and he's very bright or what? Why do you take that? Because
I don't know why I take it, but I do.
but
Yeah.
you don't like it, or
I-
no, maybe you like it, or maybe that's what you want from him.
No, I don't like
Maybe
it.
you want a man with an Adidas suit. I don't know. You know, maybe that's what you like about it. About it. He's a very what do you call them? A jockey or yeah? Athletic? Yeah.
Yeah, he's very, very athletic.
And you like.
I like that, but I don't like it when he tries to make me be that way.
The question is, do you want to change it? Because if so, the first thing that I am impressed is the fact that you really had managed with a very difficult situation
Keeping it positive.
relatively well. Now, I can understand that Jeff likes to be close to you. If you feel at times, you know, dissatisfied with Bob's tenderness, then Jeff gives you a wonderful opportunity to be tender. You know, so you are mom's teddy bear. You know, now I don't know how long do you want to be.
No, this is again kind of getting at how the role that Jeff plays in mom's life is to be sort of a comfort. And you may have heard this described as sort of a mother marrying her son, using the child as a surrogate for something lacking in the marriage. And so Mnuchin is naming it in a way that is a little bit is accurate, sort of. It's sort of alluding to the role that Jeff is playing, but also adding some distastefulness to it, and wondering about it so that the family can be more restructured to having Jeff in the learning generation, and not up on equal footing in terms of relationship with mom, and the role that he plays that is best suited for Bob to play. Bob needs to be playing the partnership / comforting, intimate role. And so this is sort of a means of sort of reorganizing the hierarchy.
Your mom's teddy bear, you know, teddy bears grow up also. But some teddy bears don't grow up. You know, how old are you, Jeff?
13.
13. Well, maybe, you know, you are a 13 years old teddy bear. Maybe you will be a 15 years old teddy bear. Maybe you will be a 20 years old teddy bear, you know. Maybe you will be a mom playing with it.
Mnuchin is also known for being quite provocative at the times. I think he's trying to be provocative right now.
Teddy bear, if you don't change him.
I had never looked at it like that before.
No, the truth is that Jeff looks more like a teddy bear than Bob. Maybe you can fatten Bob, and maybe Jeff could lose some weight, and maybe then you can play with him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can soften him up.
Provocative use of humor.
Let him relax a little.
Overfeed him, you know, and tell him whenever he becomes a preceptor, drop that nonsense.
I find that real threatening when I have to confront him with my feelings on something.
Talk with him and tell him how you would like him to change and what will you do to change him.
Get down and beg. I don't know.
Mm.
Oh God, this is hard. I find it very, very threatening when I have to tell you how I feel about something that you're doing. Or I don't think I have ever told you when there have been times that you weren't filling my needs, something that I really needed from you, or support that I really needed from you. I've never ever been able to tell you that. I've never been able to share my feelings. It's a real threat for me to let you know. I'm afraid that you're going to just totally ignore what I'm feeling or psychoanalyze why I'm feeling it and then tell me how I should feel it. Sometimes I just feel like it makes me feel like I'm not valid.
Like what?
Like my feelings aren't valid. And it's real threatening for
That
me.
means your dad treats her like he treats you.
Mhm.
And I think that he's right when he does that to you, and he's wrong when he does that to her. Means I don't know if it's right or not, but
Well, if they're happy that way, but
so he treats you like one of his incompetent kids.
But sometimes, yeah.
Well, you know, there are some people that like to be treated like that. I don't know. You know, I will not ruin your fun.
No, I don't.
That's what
Use of
I
paradigm.
think when we first got together, that was real valid. That is what I wanted. I needed a big, strong father, and my needs are changing, and I don't need that anymore, and I don't want that anymore. And I'm learning that I'm a valid person too. Now I just have to share it with you more.
But that
But
doesn't
I-
mean that you need to take it. You said that you want her to get up in the morning.
Mhm.
How will you do that? How will you make that happen?
All I can do is request. You can assume she can either do it or not. It's your choice.
No, that's too soft.
That's true.
Don't have a bed.
That is all I am prepared to do in that regard. If I'm going to have her, if I want her to stand up and be her own person, all I can do is give her opportunities. All I can
No,
give
you
you
see-
is opportunities to stand up. And if you choose not to, then you choose not to. But that's all that I can do. If my need is for you to stand up and be an independent person.
No, you cannot do that. What you can tell her is what you want from her. You cannot tell her what she should do to herself. I want you to change her, not to tell her to change herself, because that's passing the buck.
I'm telling her what I want her to be.
No, tell her what you want her to do. You cannot tell her what you want her to be, but you can tell her what you want her to do. To be, but you said before you want her to get up in the morning so that you can have breakfast together, separate from the kids.
No, not separate from the kids.
You and her, the kids.
Together as a family.
Okay, so you want that from her.
That's correct.
What's so difficult for you? Why is it difficult for you to get that?
I don't know.
Find out. She's ill. Why is
I've
it so?
been for 5 years. I've been
Yeah,
trying to find out.
So find out today. Today is your anniversary. Maybe you have luck today.
Maybe. Why is it difficult for that to happen?
What?
For you to get up in the morning?
I don't know that it's been all that long that I have been doing that. It's just my perception. That's just been a few months.
My perception is that it has been much longer than that.
You want that to happen tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning. Would you get up in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. You're right. I was lucky.
No, I think that would probably you could have changed that aspect a week ago. think that people get into grooves, into roads, and then you accept to continue like you are. So I don't think that you will have any problem with Jeff moving out of the position of teddy bear if you find a way for you to change each other. So that
He's naming the key premise of structured family therapy right there. He's saying that the symptoms, the presenting problem will resolve if the family organizes in a more developmentally appropriate way.
he becomes more satisfying to you, and she becomes more satisfying to you. But if they don't do that, Jeff, your destiny is to grow up to be a large teddy bear. You know, it's
And nobody wants that, right?
Organize kids' lives so that they don't have any alternative. You know?
Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to pause it there. And I am very interested in hearing from you, reading your comments as they relate to structured family therapy and witnessing this video in the discussion board. There are lots of videos of Dr. Mnuchin doing this work on YouTube and other places as well. It really is sort of the foundational model for conjoint family therapy. And all other models are focused on sort of the interventions to achieve something similar. Keeping in mind that strategic is very similar in that, but it focuses on the strategies that people have used in their family to solve problems and to connect with each other. And whereas a structural just focuses on reorganizing the family hierarchy, the boundaries, and other sort of cybernetic forces. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I certainly have enjoyed watching it and commenting on it with you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here real soon.